name is Irene van Zeeland and I am the Head of Education and Outreach for the Holland Dance Festival. And as such, I'm currently responsible for all the activities of the Holland Dance Festival on integrated dance. One of the things that we've been working on is our agenda Inclusive Performing Arts. And I would like to take this moment to share with you a little bit about this agenda and the process that led up to presenting it to the Ministry of Culture in the Netherlands in 2019. This agenda is focused in particular on increasing the accessibility of the performing arts for, as well as with, persons with a disability, as amateur participant, audience, art teacher, and artist. In realizing this agenda, two models that were also successfully applied in the UK were the key drivers behind its content. First, the social model of disability, where people have disabilities, but it is society that is limiting by its structural, cultural, and economic barriers and the way it approaches people. And secondly, the creative model of diversity, where it is enriching for the cultural landscape and society as a whole when one works inclusively. Because artists with unique experiences and a different perspective create new and unique art. A group initiated by the Holland Dance Festival, the National Centre of Expertise for Cultural Education and Amateur Arts, Theaters Tilburg, the Dutch Performing Arts Fund and the British Council started a series of roundtable talks in 2019 in order to create this agenda with people who have experience with working inclusively in their cultural practice or want to do so. At the same time as this process, the Dutch Cultural Diversity Code was also revised and transformed into the Code of Diversity and Inclusion. This agenda can be considered as a specific elaboration for part of the cultural sector in order to give concrete effect to the Code of Diversity and Inclusion. During these roundtable discussions and the meetings of the focus group, we have created concise recommendations for those working in the sector. There are general matters cultural organizations have to think of and work on in order to encourage inclusivity. They concern awareness, structural policy, and cooperation to increase access for all on different levels. General points of action would be: include persons with disabilities in deciding on the necessary changes in the cultural sector, saying nothing about us without us. Then create internal support and aim for structural policies. Work on teaching people how to act inclusively. That includes education and collaboration with experts, whether professional or based on experience, as well as an inclusive human resource policy. Make inclusivity part of the schedule for content and finance. Work nationally and regionally in order to learn from each other and create more possibilities. Create a platform of frontrunners, ambassadors, and influencers together. Unlock knowledge. Make clear which programmers, makers, and artists are working on inclusion and which funds pay attention to the subject. That also makes clear where there are potential blind spots that require solutions. Make sure culture gets to be part of the local inclusion agenda in your municipality. Improve the labor market position for people with disabilities. Show the difference that art makes based on research and good examples, both internationally and nationally. It inspires people. Apart from general points of action for all cultural organizations, this agenda is focused on 3 themes that apply to specific actors. 1. Art classes are accessible to all. This is for those working on education and participation. 2. Arts education programs work inclusively, concerning those who work with talent development and professionalism. And 3. Venues offer an inclusive program for those wanting to increase visibility and professionalization.
Ik vind inclusie zo ontzettend belangrijk omdat ik zelf in mijn familie en in mijn naaste omgeving heb meegemaakt dat talent onbenut blijft vanwege een beperking.
Het is zo belangrijk dat iedereen gewoon mee kan doen met alles. Dus ook met muziek maken, ook met theater, ook met je gevoel uiten.
Inclusie is voor mij binnen de danskunst dat iedereen toegang moet kunnen krijgen. In het kijken naar danskunst, maar zelfs het deelnemen aan danskunst. Ongeacht wie je bent of wat je bent.
Inclusie is voor mij een tijdelijke noodzaak.
Erover praten, dat gebeurt al best wel heel lang en best wel heel veel. En nu is het, ik denk wel ook echt het moment dat we moeten gaan doen. Alleen maar praten is niet meer genoeg. Wat ik hoop te bereiken met deze bijeenkomst is dat we straks een mooie agenda voor de toekomst hebben, waar veel draagvlak voor is en waar iedereen duidelijk heeft waar zijn rol ligt en wat hij beet kan pakken en kan doen, om in een paar jaar daarna echt het verschil te hebben gemaakt en dat iedereen gewoon mee kan doen.
Het is heel fijn om te merken dat er vanuit zoveel verschillende kanten uit de sector, beleid, praktijk, dat komt hier samen. En we willen met z'n allen hetzelfde, namelijk iedereen moet kunnen meedoen. En op dit soort momenten kunnen we ook lijntjes leggen, kunnen we kijken van waar kunnen we samenwerken, waar kunnen we elkaar versterken. We hoeven niet allemaal het wiel opnieuw uit te vinden. We moeten vooral heel erg krachten bundelen en het naar de next level brengen.
Ja, ik denk dat er wel gewoon zeker wat punten zijn benoemd die of gefine-tuned moeten worden, waar je nog tegenaan loopt. Zeker in de gewoon toegankelijkheid van een theater of de programmering van een theater en hoe doe je dat nou, hoe zet je het in zijn werk en waar begin je? Ik vind de punten waarover nu gesproken wordt en waarover bepaald wordt hoe zo'n landschap kan veranderen heel erg belangrijk, omdat het gewoon revolutionair is binnen de cultuursector. Ja, ik wil gewoon mijn handtekening eronder zetten omdat het gewoon goede plannen zijn en het echt veranderend kan zijn en zoveel mooie kunst en cultuur kan opleveren. En weet je, kunst en cultuur en dans is voor iedereen en is voor iedereen toegankelijk. En niemand moet daarvan buitengesloten worden.
During the DanceAble 3 Symposium in November 2019, the final version of the agenda was handed over to the Ministry of Culture in the Netherlands. At the same time, we handed out physical copies to everyone present and we published the agenda online for people to read and sign. A signature stands for a commitment towards realizing the goals of the agenda. Everyone who signs the agenda is asked to complete surveys to monitor the progress and is invited to attend sessions around the country or online to keep the conversation going. To talk a bit more about this and to elaborate on what we have achieved since we handed over the agenda to the ministry, I'd like to give the floor to my colleague Claudia Marinelli from LKCA.
Hi everyone, I'm Claudia Marinelli and I work at LKCA. As a knowledge center for the arts, we facilitate knowledge sharing, especially on making the arts inclusive and accessible for everybody. We prefer to do this with partners like Holland Dance Festival. Another example is an Institute of Applied Science with whom we collaborate to organize My Musicability about inclusive music making. The agenda of inclusive performing arts mustn't stay just a piece of paper like this or this. Same agenda, just another piece of paper. No, we will follow the organizations who endorse the agenda with a national monitor to see how they proceed. This monitor consists of a yearly survey the coming 4 years, and each year at least 1 national and 2 regional meetings on specific topics. LKCA has a role in making research and good examples accessible for professionals working in the field of arts. Combined with the agenda, we made a map of the Netherlands where people can easily find organizations that work inclusively. The map is to be found on our website, and so people can build on a bigger network. The first survey about how people applied the agenda was of course influenced by the corona crisis. Although there were quite some negative side effects, we also noticed positive developments. People said they were forced to look at other ways of working and were reflecting on how to work inclusively as well. The agenda is a start to become aware of the necessity of working inclusively. So creating awareness and supporting your organization is the first step. 40% said there has been made improvement this first year, especially on creating internal support, on collaboration with other organizations, policy making and communication. So the improvement was mainly on basic conditions. But this 40% of the organization said there also have been made steps towards letting people with disabilities co-decide, a more inclusive way of working and coaching of personnel. 30% of the art educational institutes stated they adapted their curriculum and 20% changed the procedure of admission. almost 60% of the organizations started to program more inclusively. And 45% had more attention for financial barriers. But the conclusion is that there is still a lot of work to be done and that people like to share knowledge with each other on certain topics. The main wishes were reflecting on your own methods, working together with experts, so people who are disabled themselves or have another cultural background, for example, creating a more diverse workforce, and collaborating with healthcare and social organizations. So the first national online meeting we had in October during the Dutch Dance Days was especially on reflecting on your own methods and the collaboration between arts and healthcare and welfare. We don't have recipes, but we do know that connecting disabled experts with art and social organizations is a way to continue and making this agenda more than just paper. It comes alive, and hopefully after 4 years we can say inclusion is not just a theme, but a natural part of your organization and how you work. Good luck to you.